Alright, new view. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the nuts on this for now. And we'll assemble up the clutch, see how things go. A little Loctite over here on the spline, or on the threads, not the spline. There we go. I don't put anything on the motor sprocket. Just tighten the piss out of these. Let's get in there. That one's tight. So this one here. Find a socket that fits good. This one. Reverse thread. Okay, don't put your thumb in there, it's going to get hurt too bad, but it's going to get nailed. There you go. Did good, I'm not bleeding tonight. See, it's healing. See, first time it's not your fault, second time it is. You know better what to do the second time. Alright, so I gotta put this clutch in there. So like I see, I stagger the clutches. If you want a fiber on the outside edge, you got to put a steel in on top of the other steel. If you put the fiber against the steel like it belongs, you wind up with the steel on the outside and you protect the aluminum plate. That's the way I like doing it. Okay, we're going to take our non-type F ATF fluid. So they want you to discolor the plate, that's what they said. So that means you take a little bit of oil, you discolor the plate. Kind of like that. They said use a rag. I don't mind getting my finger dirty. So the plates are going to absorb a little bit of the material, the oil, like that, which is going to make them a little sticky or slippery. So that's going to contradict the clutch material working correctly. So I guess they want you to make the clutch not work as good as it could if you had it dry. So I'm assuming that's going to help stop some chattering and other issues. Now my race bike, I ain't soaking them. I'm going to run the piss out of them dry. And we'll see how it holds up. On this bike, we're going to go ahead and do like they say in the instructions, which I don't really want to see why you want to put oil on your material. Seems like the last thing you want to do to me, but alright. All this oil is going to fling out and make a mess in here too, in case you didn't know. So, there you go. The only advantage I can see having the oil in there, the steel plates won't rust. At least not on the clutch surface, but they don't rust anyway because they're always wearing. Okay, there's our fiber. There's our steel. So I'm going to do that for every one of these. Means we're going to make a mess like that. So they just want you to make it so the plate changes color. See the difference between light and dark? That means there's oil on it. Like I said, all this excess stuff that's in there is going to fling out like crazy. So there will be a mess. Oh well. So they always tell you when you put finger marks on clutch plates for cars or brake material, either shoes or disc pads. If you ever touch them, you don't brake clean to get all the oils off. So what do? We put oil on it. Alright, see, I don't do this at all. I definitely don't do it for pre-soaking because once you put oil in the primary, it's going to have oil in it anyway. It'll be nice and wet. Alright, so there's another one soaked. I already know it's going to make a big mess in here, but oh well. Well, they also said put the rounded side out. So I guess that way they all flex equally. So the release is better. I don't know how I did the first one. Basically just put every plate in the same. Things work the same. Imagine that. Alright, it'll be a while. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Okay, I got all the plates in there. Wipe up all the oil mess we had here. And all the excess off the clutch basket, which wasn't really much. So I'm going to put our pressure plate in here. I got my O-ring in here now. The new one. There you go, both in. Now, back to our same problem with our spring tension here. I don't believe things are correct in here. They shouldn't be at coil bond when you put them in, which means the clutch stack is wrong. But they don't talk about that at all in the instructions, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But I know we got to figure it out. Nope, that ain't the one. I think it's this one. Yep. Same thing, those springs are coil blind. They shouldn't be. Okay. See how things work here, because something's not right. Okay. Clutch appears to be working correctly. So I still need to replace this lever up here because it's junk. See all that stuff up there? It's junk. It's all worn out, see? It's completely trash. But I put a little bit of free play right there in the front. Right here's your free play. That's your, not all this in the back. All this in the back here is worn out play, which does not count. So when you squeeze it in now with your 1/8 inch of free play up there, it looks like this down here, and it does release. I can roughly adjust to where it belongs, so that's a good sign. Okay, so now you go over here. Make sure there's no oil leaks coming out of here. Like that right there is an oil leak. But that's not the oil I put in there though. It looks like it's leaking. So I need to clean that up in there and make sure it's not leaking. Now these screws here might be too long. And they're not compressing the gasket because they were longer than this screw up here. And it looks like they're in the same height. So these two screws might be too long in bottoming out. I wiped that all down so I don't see, shouldn't be leaking under there. Alright. There's quite a bit of oil in there, so we'll have to look into that here. So first thing I'm going to do is clean the mess up again. And make sure it doesn't leak anymore in there. If it does, I'm going to change out those two screws because they might be, like I said, they might be bottomed out. There's nothing wrong with the gasket surfaces. They obviously had a bunch of silicone in here for a reason because there was a leak probably. So instead of fixing the problem, they did it that way. Okay, so there's how much oil is in there now. So I still see a little residue in there. You always want to clean things up as best you can so you can tell if there's any kind of leakage at all. That means clean it until there's no more oil residue. Of course, when you're in a blind spot like this, it's hard to get into. There's only so much you can do to get in there, but there you go, it looks pretty clean. So I see no actual wetness in there. There's wetness on the back, but not on the front. Okay. So I need to go in here with this. We knock that residue off. And now that's dry also. Okay. There's residue right up in here also. So the only way you can find the leak is you got to clean everything off until there's no more oil, and you look for leakage. All right, I can't get in there with this, but screwdriver here. All right, that looks pretty clean in there. All right, we'll come back in a few minutes and see if that looks to be a problem. What are you doing, Scooby? Scooby. What are you doing? You gonna go to bed? You gonna put your butt up? Yeah, we're gonna look at your butt? Yeah, look at that. Scooby woke up. What are you doing, Scooby? You all woken up? You all woken up? Yeah, that's a good boy. Yeah, you're all rested up for your bed now? Now you ready for your bed nap? Yeah, he's all ready for his nap now. Yeah, that's right. He's ready to go. Time to go on a rat hunt. Okay, so you got 3 springs, 3 springs, 3 springs. So this should be all equally height. So this should be pulling out equally, and it wasn't. So these are all in equal. So when I pull this clutch lever in up here, it should be pulling it equally. If you notice, it does not pull equally because the spring tension is different. On this bike, you can't fix that. Yeah, see, it's not a very accurate system. This spring down here is light. That's where the bottom's coming out quicker. Actually, I think that one bottoms out right there. This spring here is coil binding. See how it quits moving? Comes out and it quits moving. And the rest of the tension goes on the bottom. So this spring is coil bound, causing problems. I don't know why they run these things at coil bind. There's no reason to be a coil bind. So that one's an issue. So I don't understand why these things are like that. They should not be in there that far, I wouldn't think. But they are what they are, so we'll just deal with it. It is releasing, that's all that really matters. Just going to go ahead and some Loctite on these. measure the height of these here while I get these out. Okay, this is the one that's the problem one. See if there's a difference in height here. Not really. Appears to be the same. These are our two springs. They also appear to be the same height. If they would stack up on the primer the same. So very, very little difference, but it doesn't take much of a difference to be a difference. Alright, so there we go. We're going to have some issues there, I'm sure. Well, we'll see how it works. We'll go ahead and Loctite these in, just like we did before. Remember, you can run multiple patterns. We only got 9 springs here, so we're going to have a group of 3. 3 on 3. Okay, we got 3 left, see? Close. There we go. 3, 3, and 3 with one between each one. Equally spaced. You shouldn't have any problems with putting them in. Good enough for you. Nice and even. Which one do we do? The back one? Do the same 3 again. Oh, it's getting stiff. Clutch is coming out evenly though. That clutch is getting to be so stinking stiff you can't work it. Boy, that is a ball buster. Damn. I don't think it needs to be anywhere near that stiff. This thing is stiff. Feels like my race bike. Oh, jeez. Boy, that is stiff. Two-handed clutch. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out half these springs. Didn't appear to have it even coil binding with all this tension on there. Probably because there's so much flux in the cable you don't get that full travel anymore. So we're going to do a symmetrical every other hole. We'll go with that. pretty good. Okay, that's a pretty good clutch. That's pretty stiff. So that's a pretty good clutch there. It's a tight clutch. So it's nice evenly spaced, the clutch will work freely. It's releasing equally. It's still very, very stiff. So next group is you drop it down to 4 springs. Take out 2. That'll make it a little bit better. So you can do different patterns. It goes in groups of 6, so you can do 3, 6, 4, 6 again, 8, 9 obviously. 10 doesn't work, 12 does, 11 doesn't. So we're on 6. So I'm going to leave these out, it's too stiff. If this wasn't a 113-inch motor, I'd say take them out and put just 4 in there, but we're going to leave 6 in there. I'm not putting these in there, they're too stiff. If the clutch slips, then we can always add them, but right now there's no reason to work your ass off for no reason. I'm going to replace this up here and lubricate the cable, and it'll probably make it a lot easier to work, because right now it is very, very stiff too. So for now, we're going to go ahead and undo all of this, and then I have to change out that lever up top. So we'll just undo this so it's free. There you go. So, you know, went all the way down the handlebar, I can take it apart and do it. Okay, I'm going to clean this up, lower the bike down, and we'll do this up there next. Well, I gotta go look at the leak over here too. I'll give it about 5 minutes. You have to check it enough often that you can see it if it does leak. I don't see it leaking. It's semi-wet over there, but it's... I don't know if I cleaned it up that good or not. I think it's leaking out of that screw right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull these 2 screws out and put short ones in there later anyway, but I'm going to check it to make sure it's leaking first. That way I know I'm fixing something, not just doing something for nothing. Alright, we'll be back.